the occasional greengrocer's alliance of Pennybridge, Isle of Anira. Things the listener should know as he or she hearkens to this tome. There are a few things the listener should know as he or she hearkens to this tome. First, the entries in this book are arranged in alphabetical order, rather than in order of evil or appetite for human. Do not, therefore, assume that just because the bumpy digtoad appears early in the book, that it is necessarily less wicked than the squeeblin, which comes later. Although in this case the digtoad happens to be much less evil than a squeeblin. In an earlier edition of this volume, there was a distinct change in artistic style from time to time. As you will soon learn, this was due to the woeful fact that my right hand was gobbled during my expedition, and I was forced to relearn sketchery with my left. My commitment to you, listener, is such that I could not allow my lack of dominant hand to dominate the excellence of the finished work. So, I have spent the intervening years honing, tirelessly, my skills that I might once more have dominion of hand. Lastly, this book is by no means an exhaustive compilation of the many wondrous creatures of Erwiar. I focused primarily on the most dangerous beasts, though there are some benevolent ones described in these pages as well. Thank the Maker. My first expedition was to document only the animals of Skree. If enough copies of this book are sold, and enough lives ungobbled, then I will travel first to the jungles of Plonst, to document the trollish lands, and then I shall walk the width and breadth of Dang, from the green hollows to the woes of Shreve, to the Kilridge Mountains, that I might fill further Creaturepedias, and that you might not be munched. OBP. Armadillar, Skreean. Classification, Loper, Lurker. I happened upon the Skreean armadillar whilst bellying my way through a pile of leaf mud on the 20th day of first moon. I remember that it was coldish outside, but not too cold to keep me in my warmish sleeping sack, when I heard a shuffling, gruffling noise outside my tent. By the time I had skivvied and emerged from the shelter, the shuffling gruffler was gone, but I followed a faint disturbance of earth for a short distance, bellied gently, so gently, through a depression of leaf mud, heedless of its possible infestation of geefs, and beheld the male armadillar gruffling and shuffling through the woods. Weakness. The Skreean armadillar's main weakness is chocolate. If none of that is at hand, as it wasn't that night when I went leaf mud bellying, its secondary weakness is belching sounds. I'm not certain, since I've never beheld a female with my own eyes, but I suspect a hearty belch reminds the armadillar of its mother, or perhaps sets it in mind to seek out a mate. It turned on me shortly after I spotted it. I belched, a necessary skill in the wildlands of Skree, and it struck a contemplative pose that was meant, I believe, to appeal to any onlooking female armadillars. I took the opportunity to flee. Taste, like hen meat. Demeanor, casual, fetching. Bomnubble, Skreean. Classification, grinder, grabber, clincher, lion-waiter, gnawer. Behold the furry paunch, behold the sloping shoulders, the hidden eyes, mysterious, the underbite, correctable, the long and pointy teeth. Behold the bomnubble. On the shoulders of the mountains of stone, the Stony Mountains, I climbed, my only disguise a coat of gray paint with flecks of white and off-white. I braved the Stonies in search of the very thing I found. The bomnubble huffs and wheezes as it walks. It kills its prey and drags its prize to a den, which is typically below the snow line of the mountain, where the beast grinds and gnaws what it has clinched and grabbed. I saw it done, camouflaged as I was, from within the very den, where I stood against the wall. Only when the bomnubble was fast asleep on a pile of bones did I retrieve my sketchbook from my pouch, leather, and scribble the thing's likeness. Weakness? None, unless you count its appetite, which was my salvation that day in the den, for it woke from its restless slumber, sniffed the air, and set out for more munchables, which allowed me time to make my escape. Also, its eyesight is below average. Taste? Unknown. Demeanor? Uncaring, aloof, gobblesome.